Marcus once spent his entire retirement fund on a single McDonald's franchise. 18 months later, he sold it for less than half what he paid, exhausted and in debt.
10 miles away, a former line cook named Elena bought one small Subway with a fraction of that money. Today, she owns 5 locations and nets close to $400,000 a year.
Same industry, same rulebook, completely different lives. What actually separates them? Stick with me, because the answer is not what you'd expect. And it will change how you see every fast food sign you drive past.
Franchising looks simple from the outside. Pay a fee, get a proven system, open the doors.
Watch customers walk in who already trust the brand. It feels like buying success itself, pre-packaged. But underneath that promise sits a business built on razor-thin margins and brutal precision. One that quietly separates operators like Elena from owners like Marcus, long before either of them notices. Here's what surprises most people first. Getting in the door costs far more than you'd think. A Subway franchise, marketed as an affordable entry point, can still run $200,000 to $400,000. Once you count the franchise fee, construction, equipment, and opening inventory. McDonald's sits in a different universe entirely. Total investment often lands between $1 and $2.3 million. And here's the part that filters out most applicants before they even apply. McDonald's requires that a third of that money come from your own cash, not a loan.
Quick gut check. Which do you think determines whether a franchise succeeds?
The brand on the sign or the person running the store? Hold that answer. We're about to test it twice.
Elena didn't have millions. She had savings and a Subway franchise fee under $20,000.
And one decision that changed everything. She worked the register herself for a full year. Marcus, meanwhile, signed his McDonald's paperwork and hired a manager immediately. He assumed the brand alone would carry the rest of the business. That single choice, made in the first 90 days, is where their two stories begin to split. Because once the doors open, nobody truly owns their own business, not in the way people imagine. You're licensing someone else's system, and that system controls almost everything. Menu pricing, supplier contracts, store hours, even how long fries sit in the oil.
Franchisees aren't entrepreneurs in the classic sense. They're operators executing someone else's blueprint.
Elena understood this instantly. Marcus, 3 months in, still thought he was running his own restaurant.
That blueprint is also exactly what makes the model work, when someone runs it right.
Fast food profits on volume, not on any single sale. A busy McDonald's can process over 1,000 transactions a day. The drive-thru alone often accounts for more than 70% of total sales. This is why location matters more here than almost any other retail business. The location isn't where the business happens. The location is the business. So where does the money actually come from? Mostly food and drinks. But the real profit hides in the extras. Sodas that cost pennies and sell for $2 or $3. Combo meals engineered to upsell, and loyalty apps built to bring people back more often.
Extending breakfast or late-night hours by even a couple of profitable hours can shift a location's entire year.
Now here's where Marcus's story starts to unravel. Fast food runs on margins between 6 and 9%. A location doing $1.5 million a year might clear only $90,000 to $130,000 in profit.
Before the owner even pays themselves anything.
Royalties take another 4 to 5% off the top, every month, profitable or not. Marketing fees take another 2 to 4% on top of that. Add it up, and roughly 1 in every $10 is already spoken for before rent or staff.
Labor is where the real skill shows up, and it's where Elena quietly pulled ahead.
Fast food lives on precise scheduling. Overstaff a slow Tuesday and profit disappears. Understaff a Friday rush and orders go wrong. Customers leave. Bad reviews pile up.
Elena had done every job in her store herself, so she scheduled like someone who understood the floor.
Marcus was scheduling off a spreadsheet template his manager handed him. Then come the costs nobody puts in bold print. Equipment breaks. A single walk-in freezer failure can mean thousands in emergency repair, plus thousands more in spoiled food. Corporate mandated remodels, sometimes required every 7 to 10 years, can cost up to $500,000.
Food costs shift with commodity prices completely outside anyone's control.
This is the exact ground Marcus was standing on when a bad month turned into a bad quarter. And a bad quarter turned into a business he could no longer afford to run. By this point, you've probably guessed the answer to that earlier question. It was never really the brand.
Watch what happens next, because Elena's next move proves it completely. She didn't stop at one Subway. She treated her first store as a training ground, not a finish line.
She used everything she learned there to make her second location dramatically easier to open.
By her fifth store, she wasn't running a sandwich shop anymore. She was running a small logistics operation that happened to sell sandwiches.
This is the part of the industry almost nobody outside it understands. A huge share of franchise profits don't come from single location owners at all. Come from operators running 5, 10, even 50 locations. Spreading management costs and supplier relationships across every store they open. One location is a job. 10 locations is a business.
But scale brings its own weight. Multi-unit owners describe it like commanding a small army.
Mostly teenagers on their first job, spread across stores that all need steady leadership at once. Annual turnover in fast food frequently tops 100%, meaning some locations effectively replace their entire staff every single year.
That constant hiring cycle is one of the largest hidden costs in the whole business.
Risk rarely knocks before it arrives, either. A new competitor across the street can cut sales fast.
Sales can drop 15 to 25% almost overnight.
Minimum wage hikes can add tens of thousands in yearly labor costs, with zero extra revenue. And brand risk is the strangest one of all, completely outside any single owner's control. A food safety scandal on the other side of the country can dent every franchisee's sales for months. You share the upside of the brand. You also share the downside. Two real examples make this risk impossible to ignore. In the early 2000s, a wave of Quiznos franchisees were locked into mandatory supplier agreements,
Forced to buy ingredients from company-approved vendors at prices well above market rate.
Many went bankrupt, not because customers stopped showing up, but because the contract made profit nearly impossible.
The concept was never the problem. The paperwork was.
On the opposite end, some early Chick-fil-A operators built extraordinary single-location businesses, few reportedly clearing over $5 million a year from one store alone. Entry cost is famously low, often cited around $10,000, but that number needs context. Chick-fil-A itself owns the real estate and keeps a far larger share of revenue than most franchisors.
What isn't a fair apples-to-apples comparison to Subway or McDonald's?
What it does prove is that the highest grossing model isn't always the one with the biggest menu.
Sometimes it's the one with the strictest discipline, closed doors on Sunday and all. Worth noting, Marcus and Elena represent a pattern this industry produces again and again, not a single verified case.
New owners underestimate working capital, assuming day one revenue will cover expenses.
Most locations actually need 12 to 18 months just to stabilize. Many buy on emotion, seduced by a confident sales pitch, without reading the financial disclosures. And the costliest mistake of all is treating a franchise as something you fund and walk away from. The owners who actually win know every line of their own profit and loss statement by heart. So what's the real ceiling here? A well-run McDonald's can clear over $300,000 a year. Multiply that across 5 or 6 locations, and a disciplined operator is looking at 7 figures annually. That ceiling is real, but it only opens for the person willing to learn the business first. Marcus lost his retirement fund because he bought a logo and assumed it would run itself.
Elena built 5 stores because she bought a system and mastered it, shift by shift.
The sign above the door was never the business. What's inside and who's running it always was. So next time you drive past a franchise, ask yourself, was that business bought or built?